What's at stake today for both teams? In fact, let's take a close look at it. Our research producer is Evan Kaplan. Cap, what exactly is at stake in this game today?
Yeah, Greeny, as Graz said, just a massive game for the bottom of the AFC playoff picture and the final playoff spot. So let's look at this entering today. Broncos 2-game lead over the Colts. They have a 74% chance to make the playoffs, 26 for Indy. So let's play out a few different scenarios. Keep an eye on these numbers up here. If the Broncos win, that would give the Colts a loss. They would have a 3-game lead over Indy. Look at this percentage, 90 for Denver, down to 6 for Indy. So as Dan said, Quiddy Pay, basically a must-win playoff game for the Colts. But let's take a look at this. If the Colts win today, and obviously a Broncos loss, their percentage is even, both 52 to make the playoffs. Why is that, even though the Colts are 1 game back? Take a look at these remaining schedules. The Broncos play the Chargers, the Bengals, the Chiefs. The Colts have the 3rd easiest remaining schedule in the NFL. Titans, Giants, Jaguars to end the season. And for the Broncos, this Chargers game is on Thursday night in Week 16. A loss by Denver again. Now all of a sudden the Colts are up to 58% to make the playoffs. So if you're the Broncos, you've got a huge home game today, and you're in a pretty good spot to get back to the playoffs for the first time since 2015. But an Indy win really opens the door for the Colts to get that final playoff spot in the AFC.
Outstanding job, Cap, as always. I'm not sure how Titans, Giants, Jaguars is only the 3rd easiest remaining schedule. I'm not sure.
Who's got it easy than them?
Nobody. So now we set up the stakes, Tedy, right? I mean, this is a playoff game that we have going on today with 2 young quarterbacks sort of in different stages of their development, right? We saw Richardson get benched this year, come back doing what he's doing. They've got the easy schedule here. Huge opportunity for the Colts today.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if the Colts get this, basically a playoff game, right? But I'm just looking at this team and Anthony Richardson at the quarterback position, and it's like, does this guy have it in him? He's going up against a tough defense in the Denver Broncos. I love these 2 rushers in Bonito and Cooper. So listen, I know that Richardson had some good 4th quarter success, all right? But this is a guy that's just struggled, and you're looking on the other side at Bo Nix, who has just been fantastic throughout the course of the year. This Bronco team is going to be hard to beat in my opinion.
And let me say this. This is the biggest game, the most significant game that has been played in Denver since the AFC Championship game in 2016. This is a city that has been waiting for this game for 8 years. This is a stadium that is going to be electric today. And I noticed on Friday, when Sean Payton held his end-of-the-week press conference, he stepped into the microphone. Let's keep in mind the Broncos are coming off their bye week. And he opened it with 3 words. 3 words. He said, really good week. When Sean Payton opens his press conference on Friday and says, really good week, there are a lot of things that can change on Sunday. But I can tell you that going in, he feels really good about his team in the biggest game it has played in years.
And his quarterback is a huge part of the reason for that. Let's talk about Bo Nix.
Yes. Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. And I think that's a great sign there with their bye week. Listen, people have to understand out there, this Sean Payton offensive playbook is probably the biggest in the NFL. Listen, and this is basically the New Orleans Saints West now that's in Denver, right? The whole coaching staff's there. Joe Lombardi, Pete Carmichael, my old coach, Johnny Morton. And there is so much volume. They don't believe in wasting any plays. Listen, it's always multiple play calls, sometimes check with me's at the line of scrimmage, right? If it's a bad look for the run, we're going to get to the pass. Bad look for the pass, we're going to get to the run, right? And a lot of different in-between things. There's so much volume on Bo Nix, and I know they purposefully it really overloaded him in training camp. Right, and as a young QB, you could be spinning, right? You're trying to tread water with that much language. And you're really seeing over these last 8 weeks that things have started to click, right? Like he's really figured things out. And all of a sudden, he's playing faster, right? You see him at the line of scrimmage, getting them to the right play. Best case scenario, the last 3 weeks, they're 3-0, averaging well over 30 points a game, right? I mean, he's a huge reason why they're in the position they are.
Sean Payton showed up at Bo Nix's pro day, and he showed up with 3 pamphlets. And they gave him the 3 pamphlets at 5 p.m. the night before they were going to meet with him at 8 a.m. So it would be the equivalent of me giving you all the materials for a big test that I'm going to give you at 8 a.m. in the morning. And when 8 a.m. rolled around in the morning and they put him on the board and they asked him about the 3 pamphlets of playbooks and plays, Bo Nix basically had everything memorized. He had the Broncos offense down overnight. So this is a continuation of what Sean Payton saw.
How is that possible?
I'm just telling you,
God.
he had everything down
It's
from what he had given him
incredible.
the night before. And that was when it was sealed that Sean Payton was taking this guy. He loved him anyway, but when he saw that, he's like, this is a guy that can run my offense the way I want it run.
And that's it. That's why they target their guy. Like Sean Payton went out specifically looking for somebody that can handle that playbook and things. And that's going to eliminate a lot of guys, and things like that. But he got the right guy. They were able to target him in the right spot, and they hit on him. Now, look at the other side. They took a gamble on this kid, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
They took a flat-out gamble on him. Why? He played one season of college football, not 6 like Bo Nix did. He played 1. And so what are you seeing right now is a guy that's struggling. No surprise. The guy, there's some games when you're like, oh, my goodness, like he's completing under 50% of his passes. That doesn't happen in today's game. But this guy has got an incredible upside. Yeah. When you say, I just looked at him physically, and I'm like, oh, my God, I haven't been this scared of a quarterback for years since I saw Cam Newton, and I ran to the locker room, you know what I mean? And we'll see the development. They seem like they're heading in different directions, but we got to give this guy time. And ironically, if they get a win today, they're going to make the playoffs. Yep. So to me, how's he going to get it done? He can't drop back and face that pass rush. You even forgot that Allen kid, who I think is doing a tremendous job for him, rushing the passer. Run. Use your dang legs, quarterback running plays, things like that. Don't forget now, this coach was with Nick Sirianni in the Philadelphia Eagles. He has that in his bag of tricks. I expect that's the only way they can be competitive in this game.
So, Rex, the Dolphins have won 4 of their last 5. You have been somewhat skeptical. What are we calling their coach today?
McGenius.
McGenius.
I'm not buying McGenius all the time. And
still not.
I'm not, because you heard about it. It's funny, Joe Mixon talking about, are the explosive plays, whoever gets the most explosive plays. Mm-hmm. Well, it's hard to get an explosive play when you sit back and go, 1,001, get the ball out or whatever. He's either throwing bubble screen. Does that scare you? It doesn't scare the hell out of me. All right, and then all this. I know what scared me. If they actually put Tyreek Hill down the field. How about we do that at least twice a quarter? Come on. I don't see him shooting it down the field. And then the other side of the ball, look, the Texans, the reason why the kid's struggling, they can't protect the quarterback. And so now you got, what's the perfect remedy? The Miami Dolphin pass rush. That's going to be the perfect remedy for C.J. Stroud. Joe Mixon said, we think we can score every time. Why? He watches the tape. That defense is not very good for Miami. So to me, this is what it's all about. Look, Miami could go on a roll. There's no question. We see the soft schedule. However, they got to get through Houston. I think this could be a big game for Houston.
Where they've been weak, that Houston offensive line is the interior. They've done everything they can to do that. They're moving Howard back to left guard. They've got Fisher, the rookie, playing right tackle out of Notre Dame. So there are still some questions on the offensive line. But interior rushers in terms of Miami, Seiler's got 6 sacks. Campbell's got 4 sacks. So they can get – that's the two things with these two quarterbacks, all right? You got to get Stroud on the ground, all right? You got to get pressure up the middle of the pocket, get him on the ground. But with Tua, you got to disrupt the rhythm, because you're probably not going to get to him. The ball's going to be gone. So rushers for Texans like Anderson and Hunter, it's about batting down passes and then the receivers getting in their faces and jamming him and disrupting timing. 2 different philosophies defensively against 2 different quarterbacks.
And to me, this bye week couldn't have come at a better time for the Texans. They desperately needed this. The bye week's such a time to kind of self-scout, look internally, again, get some things figured out on the offensive line offensively, which has been a disaster for them. To me, that's really when you look at C.J. Stroud, it's not a regression. I know his numbers aren't as good as last year, but when you're getting hit by a 4-man rush every play, it's hard to play quarterback in this league, right? You start to throw things early. You start to not trust your offensive line. They've got to kind of get things regrouped. Bobby Slowick, let's get some things figured out.
What happened to him?
Where's Bobby Slowick coming in here?
Let's get a little better.
He was a genius last year.
Nico Collins back healthy. They really missed him. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL, but they need to be better in the run game early. Get C.J. Stroud into some better third down situations. And again, I want to see it. Did they figure out some of these things in this bye week? This is the time to do it.
But it's it's the offensive line. It's Bobby Slowick. It's C.J. Stroud. It's everybody. This was a team that we looked at as an ascending team that was capable of going to the Super Bowl. Right. And we just have not seen any of that from the Texans this season. They have struggled. C.J. Stroud has not developed. By the way, Bryce Young has made strides in recent weeks to where now he looks like he's making an impact. And C.J. Stroud looked like he was a superstar last year and has looked like a good quarterback this year.
Agreed, but this Texans defense is, when healthy, is elite. I mean, they have these two edge rushers, Will Anderson Jr., Daniil Hunter. They can get after opposing quarterbacks, and they're going to have to today, right? We mentioned, obviously, the screens and Tua getting the ball out, but if you got a chance against this Dolphins team, you're going to have to affect him.
Yeah, recognize what they've been trying to do in terms of fixed solutions along the offensive line and moving some pieces around, because that's what great coordinators do. That's what great coaches do. You find solutions to problems, Rex. So you know what I'm talking about here. So coming out of the bye, Alex, let's see what Slowick has for this offense.
Stroud has already been sacked more times this season than he was in his entire rookie year, and that's been a part of it. And so, Alex, you mentioned maybe developing some bad habits. I got to pin you down, Rex. I got to pin you down. Is McGenius's team about to go on a run and get into the playoffs? Are the Dolphins going to sneak in that last wild card spot?
No.
No.
I'm not.
I think they can. I think they can.
I don't
think they can.
so. I just think it's, we're making an assumption this team can, they're going to get through Houston. They're going to get, I just don't buy it.